Mr. Mahmoud Anwar is an international consultant on human and development rights and public relations officer for the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in Switzerland. He also serves as the public relations representative for the International Association of Architects and Engineers and Europe Humanity First. With a background in political science from the University of Basel, he has worked extensively on outreach, humanitarian aid, and development projects, including initiatives on clean water, renewable energy, and sustainable infrastructure in Africa. Mr. Anwar is widely recognized as a human rights activist, motivational speaker, and advocate for social justice and community development, and today he will be speaking on behalf of the Ahmadiyya community. So, Anwar, you have the floor.
Thank you. Human rights defenders and my friends, peace be upon you all. It is an honor for me to address you today on the behalf of Ahmadiyya Muslim community. And I also thank the organizers who convening the importance of this event. Voice from the margins. It gives us the chance to hear directly from communities who are too often silenced and too often forgotten. Globally, minorities face major barriers in expressing their religious identity, particularly in the context of legal identification processes and other hands of unrecognized minority faiths are often forced to indicate an incorrect religion or forego identity documents altogether. This restricts their access to employment, education, healthcare, and other essential services, and in extreme cases can result in de facto statelessness. For the Ahmadiyya community, persecution is not an occasional incident. It has been written into the very law of country Pakistan. 1974, the Constitution of Pakistan was changed to declare Ahmadis as non-Muslims. Overnight, millions of citizens were stripped of their identity. 10 years later, in 1984, came Ordinance 20. This law went even far further. It told Ahmadis, you may not call yourself Muslims, you may not say the greeting of peace, like I said before, salam. We are not allowed to say salam. You may not call yourself mosque as a mosque. You may not even recite the Holy Quran publicly. This is a crime. Faith itself was turned into a crime. What does this mean in our daily life? It means Ahmadis cannot vote as Muslims. It means young people are blocked from jobs and the universities. It means our literature is completely banned. Our mosques are sealed. Even our graves are demolished. From birth to burial, and Ahmadi is told, you do not belong. And because the law has dehumanized, violence has followed, even grown up. Ahmadi doctors, shopkeepers, and ordinary citizens have been murdered in cold blood. Places of worship have been attacked, graves demolished. Perpetrators are almost never punished, or they were released. Too often, they are celebrated like heroes. When the state itself criminalizes your identity, Where do you turn for justice? But let me be clear. This is not only about Ahmadis. When the state makes it acceptable to target one group, intolerance spreads. Other minorities suffer as well. Extremist groups grow bolder. Society becomes divided. Democracy itself is weakened. The lesson is simple. Discrimination against one community is a danger to all. So, what needs to be changed? I offer following recommendations to the Human Rights Council and the member states. Repeal discriminatory laws, including Ordinance 20, which criminalize the Ahmadi faith. Guarantee equal protection. Ensure Ahmadis can live and worship in safety with the same rights as all other citizens. Ensure accountability. Investigate attacks on Ahmadis. Prosecute perpetrators. And stop those who incite hatred. Restore civic rights. Allow Ahmadis to vote freely, access education and employment, and participate fully in society. Tackle hate speech and extremism. Prevent extremist groups from spreading hatred against all communities, against all minorities, and violence against them. Strengthen UN engagement. Keep the treatment of religious minorities under close review through regular monitoring and reporting at the Council. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community does not ask for privilege. We ask only for equality, for dignity, for the freedom to believe as conscience demands. Despite all persecution, we remain loyal to our nation. We serve humanity and we live by our guiding motto, love for all, hatred for none. But we cannot stand alone. We look to this council and to the international community to ensure that human rights are not mere words, but a living reality. Distinguished guests and dear colleagues, let us work together so that no community is silenced because of their faith, so that no child grows up in fear because of their identity, so that the future generations inherit a world where diversity is cherished, not punished. Strengthen legislative and institutional responses in effectively addressing hate speech and incitement to the national, racial, or religious hatred, in accordance with the established international human rights standards and by integrating the guidance provided the Rabat Plan of Action. Take positive steps to ensure equal and effective participation of Ahmadis in public life and decision-making processes that affect them, including them guaranteeing their political representation and their free exercise of their right to vote, guaranteeing their access to employment in public services of any kind, and the protect their rights in form of maintain their associations and organizations. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anwar, for this insight from the Ahmadiyya community in Pakistan. I think what's worth mentioning is that the man that we're seeing behind this curtain is your father.
Yes.
And I want to commend you for giving this testimony in his name also today, because he cannot be here anymore to do so. With that, I would like to move on to our next speaker, who will be joining us online. So we'll have to see if the activities in our favor today. Our next speaker is Mr. Faham Kawsi. He is the General Secretary of the World Sindhi Congress, and for the past 25 years, he has dedicated his efforts to raising awareness about the challenges faced by Sindhi people. And he's deeply passionate about Sindhi culture, and has consistently worked to draw attention to the suffering of Sindhi Hindus and the broader Sindhi community in Pakistan. So with that, let me check if we can have him on the screen. Could you speak, Farhan, so we can see if we can hear you? Thank you. Could you speak again to see if we can hear you?
Ravi, you are online, so can you hear me?
We can all hear you now, thank you. You can go ahead.
Yes, I can hear you. Okay. Can I start?
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you. Before I even start my speech, I'm going to echo the fellow speaker before me. And as he mentioned that this whole discrimination is being unfortunately part of the constitution which was amended. So sad part is we all notice that we all know that Pakistan is military state, but so much damage is being done.
Guidance and implementation, and this proposal as a way forward. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, thank you. Thank you very much, Ravi, for giving us these insights into the realities, both historic and current, of the Tamils in Sri Lanka. And with that, I would like to finally move on to our last speaker, who will be representing minority groups from Bangladesh, Mr. Rahman Khalil Mamoon, the Executive President of the International Forum for Secular Bangladesh and a human rights activist with the Tumukuru Development and Cultural Union. He has long been at the forefront of the struggle for secularism and minority protection in Bangladesh, tirelessly advocating against extremism and for inclusive democracy and the rights of marginalized communities. So please, Rahman, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Honorable Moderator Sharon, on behalf of Human Rights Defense in Netherlands. And so thanks to you also, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am being here as a human being, as a secular human being from Bangladesh, a democratic society. I am born in Muslim family, but I feel my religion is the for all of the human beings. So I particularly am not to belong a religion to the section to the torturing the other religion. On behalf of the Democratic Society of Bangladesh, I am talking here religious fundamentalism and attacks on minorities, communal violence against religious minorities in Bangladesh, a rising crisis in 2025. The Bangladesh Hindu Buddhist Christian Ecto Parishad has raised serious concerns about the continuing surging in communal violence across Bangladesh, reporting 258 incidents targeting religious minorities in just the first 6 months of 2025. These include 27 cases of murder, a stark indication of how perilous the situation has become for Hindu, Buddhist, and Christian communities under the current political environment. The data were released during a press conference held at the Jatiyo Press Club with prominent minority leaders and rights activists urging the government to take immediate and unbiased action. The incidents reported cover a wide spectrum of abuse, including rape, gang rape, arson, looting, physical assaults, burning their houses, and religiously motivated detention. Breakdown of the 2025 communal attacks January to June, according to the ঐক্যপরিষদ documentation of prominent human rights organization Ain o Salish Kendro, mainstream journal Daily Star, Daily Prothom Alo, and Daily Kalir Konto, and international journal the BBC. The report is that 27 murders were committed as part of the communal violence. 20 women were subjected to gender-based violence, including rape and gang rape. 59 attacks were carried out on places of worship, preliminary temples and churches, many involving vandalism, arson, and theft. 87 attacks were reported on homes and business belong to religious minorities. 21 arrests to torture cases occurred due to the allegations of the hurting religious sentiment, often based on vague social media posts for speech. 4 individuals were either physically assaulted or forced to resign from their jobs due to the religious bias. 12 attacks were documented against indigenous communities who are doubly vulnerable due to their ethnic and religious identities. On December 5, 2024, 2 Hindu temples and several homes and shops of the Hindu residents were vandalized in remote village of the Dwara Bazar Upazila, Sunamganj. Just days later, an ISKCON temple in Meherpur was attacked and set ablaze. The temple housing sacred idols of Lord Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhra Devi was completely destroyed. This wave of the violence has continued into 2025, according to local and international human rights monitors. At least 9 more indicates of temple vandalism were reported between January and June 2025 across districts like Norai, Brahmanbaria, and Chattogram. Minority communities have alleged inaction and at times complicity from local authorities. Very harmful story of in Chittagong 2024, the last year. The Hinduism priest Mr. Sri Chinmoy Das Brahmachari Prabhu has arrested in 25 of November in last year, but he arrested as a charges of the anti-national allegations. But he is just as my nose, as international reputation. He is just a priest, never to involve with any political party, any political activism. He is more than 1 year in the prison. The High Court has been gave the bail last few months, and then after the government charges against him in a murder case. This murder, when happened in Chattogram, that time Mr. Chinmoy Das was inside the prison. So it is unbased the charge. The continued targeting of skirted sites highlights growing intolerance and the urgent need for the interim administration to restore communal harmony and ensure justice for minority victims. So, deteriorating security of Christians in Bangladesh under the interim government. Yes, it is true that most of attacks happening against Hindus, but since the Yunus-led interim government assumed power in Bangladesh in August 24, concern over the safety of Christians have intensified. A striking example occurred in December 2024 when 17 homes belong to the Tripura Christian community in Lama Upazila, Bandarban, were reduced to ashes during a Christian celebration. All residents were away at the nearby church event and locals reported prior threats urging them to vacate the village, suspicions of arson and land grabbing. Linked to the powerful individuals, including associates of a former police chief, further deepen the insecurity. This is not isolated cases. In the past year, Christian communities in remote areas of the Chittagong hill tracts and have reported rising intimidation, exposition, and forces disappearance, often under the guise of land disputes. Although local authorities provided limited emergency aid, the victims reported little to no justice or resolution. So, a constitutional crisis. Speakers at the event, including co-presidents Professor Neem Chandra Bhomik and Nirmal Rosario and Presidium member Kajal Devnath, highlighted the broader implications of this communal violence. The attacks are not merely criminal incidents but represent a deep constitutional crisis where the religious and ethnic minorities are being systematically marginalized. International contribution and the state denial. The particular point of the concern raised by the Oikko Porishad was disconnect between international achievements and grand realities. These contradictions highlight a growing fear among activities that Bangladesh communal crisis is being overlooked internationally due to the diplomatic and the geopolitical concern. Without international pressure and oversight, they argue the chances of the structural reform remain slim. Between August 2024 and June 25, Bangladesh has witnessed an alarming 2,442 incidents of hate crimes and communal violence, mainly targeting Hindus, Buddhists, Christians, and indigenous people. These are not isolated events, they form a pattern of exclusion, violence, and the impunity that undermines Bangladesh's secular constitutional foundation. The government's promises to reform ring below unless concrete actions are taken to protect all citizens equally, regardless of faith, identity. Civil society must remain vigilant and the international community must act responsibility because silence in the face of such injustice is complicity. Thank you so much for the hearing.
Thank you very much, Raman, for these insights from Bangladesh. And thank you to all of our panelists for these insights. It is much appreciated that you've taken this platform to speak on behalf of your communities who way too often are not heard, especially at this international stage. I would like to open the floor now for questions or comments. I would ask you if you have time to be brief, as brief as you can. If you have any questions or comments, please raise your hands or your name tags. If not, I will just give the floor back to the panelists and see if one of you wants to comment on what your fellow panelists have said. So if any of you would like to add something, there's also to the people online, I will have to check them. Would any of you like to add on fellow testimony?
I just, like I said before, I just want to add that according to the Constitution, human rights, everyone should have the access to education, access to identity, and access to peaceful society, living in a peaceful society. So all kind of rights should be given for all, even though minorities or everyone. That is my last comment. And we should try to work on this, all civil society, all members, and they need to actively work on this. We are coming and we are talking, but actions are missing. So I firmly believe if we start with something. So actions needed, not only talks. My last one. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Officer. I will briefly check on our online panelists to see if they would like to add something. Robert Farha, does one of you want to add? If you do, then go ahead, please.
Thank you so much. And you can see the patterns copied in other parts of the world. Sri Lankan model is a bad model that could be reset by taking strong actions such as institutionalizing international criminal justice mechanism through you request the member states to take strong action by resolution, forthcoming resolution, to take Sri Lanka to international criminal justice mechanism by referring Sri Lanka to the General Assembly, and then the General Assembly takes steps to request the member states, those who uphold human rights values, to take Sri Lanka to International Court of Justice, which is a much more speedy process. So this will reset the UN to recognize the international community, particularly the UN structures, are falling apart, losing the confidence of the victims, and some of the cruel member states are following Sri Lankan path. This is where we are humbly requesting all the member states to take strong action to establish justice in Sri Lanka for the atrocity crimes and genocide committed against the terrorists. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robbie, for this very important point, I think, of pointing towards international avenues for justice and for the support that is needed for that. I think this is a good note to be ending this conference on. So since I see no other questions or hands from the floor, I would like to thank you all very much for coming. I know it's a very busy day, the first day of the session. So thank you very much for joining us here today. Your support is much appreciated. And then I hereby close this meeting. Thank you very much.
We can use our minutes.
You can use our.
That's what I'm saying.